Good morning, everyone. Welcome to This Day. It is September 16th, and actually as of, I think today or yesterday or today, it's 100 days till Christmas, so I just thought I'd let you know that. All right, on our show today, we have a doctor from the Hoag Neurosurgery Spine Program, and he's going to talk about how they can help you if you have neck pain and other ailments as well. Also, from Christian Women's Connection, Joe Harradine will be here. Their meeting is actually tomorrow that we'll tell you about. We're going to bring you a segment with Alexa Pratt. She is with the Orange County Fire Authority, and we're going to be talking about using your grill at home, barbecue safety, and also cooking in general, kitchen safety in general. We're going to talk, and just some very easy tips, but important tips that you can take note of. We're also going to bring you a segment from RadNet today. Now, as far as meetings, there is only one. That's the Media and Communications Committee, and that will be in the boardroom at 1:30. So if you'd like to go down there, you are certainly welcome to do that. Now, the weather, cooler week this week, which is nice. You probably saw, really it started yesterday. In the evening, we started seeing that onshore breeze coming in, and we got a lot of, if you're watching us in the morning, good thick marine layer and a lot of clouds out there today. Really nice. So the next few days are really going to be pretty much the same. A few degrees difference here and there, and actually start to get a little bit cooler. But the morning clouds, they'll stick around a little bit, and then we'll have mostly sunny skies. As we get to Friday, we're going to see less of those clouds because even though it shows 78 there, we're still fairly cool for this time of the year. We're going to start to warm up again on Saturday and Sunday, although I don't think it's going to be reaching the upper 90s and hundreds that it did in many areas this past weekend. So that is good, but we'll start to warm up. So Friday, again, I have 78. That's going to be like a transition day. So I expect that temperature to change a little bit, may even start to get warmer than that, but still it shouldn't be quite as bad. Let's look around Orange County and elsewhere today, and everything is just very, very pleasant everywhere you go. The beaches, nice out there, 78. Palm Springs is down to 101. I think they were, about 110 over the weekend. Arrowhead, absolutely beautiful at 74. So really some nice, pleasant weather this week. It feels a little bit like fall out, even though fall doesn't start for, let's see, I think it's Saturday fall starts. So looking forward to that. I hope the weather continues like this, though. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Your attention.
Well, I'd like to welcome back with us. This doctor has been on with us before, Dr. Brock Osger, and he is Chief of Service with Neurosurgical Spine Program at Hoag. Great to have you here and see you again.
Great to be back.
Welcome back, yeah. Now, we're going to talk about, a couple different things, but, when people suffer from back pain, it can be anything from minor, where you kind of know what happened, hey, I picked up a box wrong or something, but it can be debilitating to the point where life is just not enjoyable anymore, right? And that's where someone like yourself steps in.
Right. It's very common. A lot of patients have spine problems, spine complaints. We all hurt our backs, just like you said.
Yes.
Did too much on a weekend, played with the grandkids, ran errands throughout the community. And the good news is most patients will not need surgery.
What, I know there's many causes of this, and being the fact that you're in neurosurgery, you're obviously looking at it from that point of view more so than maybe you've torn a muscle or something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, oftentimes when we hurt our backs, we've sprained a muscle. We have, just like we have arthritis in our shoulders,
Yeah.
hips and knees, we'll have arthritis in our spines as well. And so usually with just conservative care, massage, heat, ice packs, it goes away. Ibuprofen sometimes.
Right.
So the good news is that after a few days, it'll go away on its own. If it doesn't, you talk to your primary doctor and they may do some more tests. If those tests find something significant, then they may send you to a specialist like myself. But the good news is the vast majority of patients that hurt our backs, you don't need to see a specialist like me.
Okay.
But if they find something, then oftentimes I'll see those patients.
Okay, so what's actually going on? Is it the classic what people call a pinched nerve? Is it the disc in the spine deteriorating where it's pinching on something? Or could it be several different factors?
Yeah, oftentimes it's a combination of things. The disc does degenerate. Think of like a tire losing
Right.
air over time. So the disc wears down. The bones start to rub and we develop arthritis in the joints of our spine. Sometimes the nerve gets pinched and we'll call that oftentimes sciatica.
Right,
So
right.
that'll be when the pain starts in the back and runs down the leg. Can also happen in the neck, back of the
Okay.
neck, and run down the arm as well. Both of those are demonstrating that a nerve's being pinched and irritated.
Okay, so what is something that can be done about that? What is the type of treatment? Is it surgical? Is it something that you start with medication, or something has to be done as far as the disc in the neck or whatever it might be?
Yeah, first it'll start out with an examination and evaluation of an MRI, and we're looking for how severe it might be. In most cases, it's mild to moderate, can be treated conservatively, sometimes some steroids, sometimes an injection like an epidural shot. That's where you're injecting a steroid into the spine, either the lower back or upper neck, and we're trying to bring down the swelling around the nerve. So that'll often help. Now, if it keeps happening, or if it's severe, and the patient's having trouble walking, they're losing strength, picking up their foot, or using their arm, then it's more significant. And in that case, they may need to see a surgeon for an evaluation.
Okay.
And in those cases, sometimes we'll have to actually perform surgery and trim down some of that disc or bone that's compressing the nerve.
Okay. Now, does that usually work? Is something needed to be done more on the nerve as well? Can the nerve get pinched beyond repair?
That's a great question. Our bodies have remarkable healing abilities. So if you catch it before it's severe and before there's permanent damage, which takes a lot to get to that point.
Okay.
So if you catch it in time, you can actually decompress the nerve and the nerve can heal. And so the majority of people who have a disc herniation or stenosis, that's another version of compression, that you can decompress the nerve and treat it so that you can have a full recovery. In the majority of cases, not 100%. But it all depends on a timely evaluation.
Okay. At what point should someone see a specialist? Is it just, as you said, they're finding it that it's every single day something there is changing the way they do things, whether it's anything they do, just walking.
Yeah.
Is that at the point in time it becomes?
Yeah, I would say if something becomes, there are two scenarios. One is something that's chronic, it's happening every day. I wake up, I can't do this, I can't do that. I can't go for my walks anymore, I can't get in and out of a car. If it's something that's slowly progressive over time and it's really affecting your quality of life, then I think you should seek attention, even at any age. To me, age means nothing because it's more about medical history.
Yeah.
So you have a 90-year-old who's healthier than a 70-year-old who drinks and smokes and has other medical problems. So it's all about medical history. So I would say whenever your quality of life is being dramatically affected, seek the help of a professional, get an opinion. If what they're projecting or recommending doesn't make sense or sounds aggressive, get a second opinion, get a third opinion. Because nowadays in medical options, including in spine surgery, there's minimally invasive options, which means smaller cuts, microscopic procedures that are vastly safer than the traditional surgeries, and patients can recover quickly.
You mentioned lifestyle smoking. Smoking can lead to osteoporosis. Can that lead to having problems? Your discs collapsing and having problems there just because of the bones around the spine?
Yeah, smoking unfortunately has negative effects. We always think of the lungs, that's true, but it has effects on our whole body, including the bones and joints and discs, healing of tissues. So definitely that's a factor.
Okay. Now, what's the comprehensive approach that you folks take? Someone comes in, they've been referred to more than likely, you know, the way most insurances work, and their primary looks at it and goes, you know, this is more than just, you know, you twisted your neck, you did something wrong, it's going to heal, you know, in a couple weeks, 3-4 weeks. So what's the approach that you folks take?
Yeah, that's a great question, and the way healthcare has gone, it's to anyone's benefit. Number one, to seek out multiple opinions, talk to family members, talk to neighbors, talk to a coworker, and try to get multiple opinions on who's had a procedure recently, or good outcomes, poor outcomes, and figure out in the community who's the best physician to go to, safest, least complications. Now, when you see a surgeon, the concern is a lot of surgeons are working in a silo. In other words, they feel they can take care of everything. And oftentimes they get used to doing a certain type of procedure. So with anybody coming in, they do the same procedure on everyone. They do a big spinal fusion. And that's dangerous. And a lot of patients don't need that much done. Now, what is the comprehensive approach that we've created at Hoag is a multidisciplinary process, meaning you have a surgeon, you have a neurologist, you have a pain specialist, an acupuncturist, a PMNR, physical medicine rehab specialist. You have a whole host of specialists within spine, within which only one element is a surgeon. Because as I mentioned earlier, most people don't need surgery. What we need is a round table of specialists who all focus on the spine from different angles and who all have an opinion on how can we help this patient. Maybe they just need physical therapy. Maybe they just need some ibuprofen. Maybe they need to modify the way they exercise, the way they work out, the way they lift. These are all important elements of a healthy lifestyle in using our spines. One little aspect of it is surgery. So again, most patients don't need surgery, some do, but when we put all our minds together from different aspects to try to treat the patient as a whole, you have better outcomes, you have better selection, you have better recovery. Another element of a new development at Hoag has been the ARU, which stands for the acute rehab unit. So a lot of times when patients recover from surgery, they need extra help before they go home. And so we now have a acute rehab unit in the hospital. So the patient can be discharged from the surgical floor and needs a little more time with physical therapy. So they can be transferred over to the ARU, recover there for a few weeks or a few days, 2 weeks, whatever they need, and with constant physical therapy and nursing help and medications if they need. And then when they're safe, they can go home.
All right, very good. Great to have you back.
Thank you.
Hope we see you again soon.
Thank you so much.
And I want to remind folks that if you'd like some information on this, you can go to hoag.org/neuro. The number is 949-764-6066, and we will be back.
Your body is made for work, play, and adventure. All the things that make life amazing. But when pain gets in the way, turn to Hoag Orthopedic Institute to get you back to doing the things you love. At Hoag Orthopedic Institute, we're experts at getting you out of pain and back to golf, running, or yoga. Whatever makes you, you.
Christine and Jack for the Jewelry Box.
Hey Christine, after being voted best jewelry store in Orange County every year since 2011, don't you find it kind of odd that there are still folks that don't know about the previously enjoyed jewelry we sell?
Yep, it's a shame, Jack. You know, we buy from our customers at great prices. Our master jewelers refurbish the best of the best, and we sell at prices way below other jewelers.
So that's the reason we're still number one.
It's one of many, Einstein.
The Jewelry Box. It's about trust.
And welcome back. With me today is Alexa Pratt. She is the Community Relations and Education Specialist with the Orange County Fire Authority. And the reason that we're here at City Hall is because you just gave a presentation primarily on home safety, having a good escape plan, and also one of my favorite things to do is barbecue. So it's good to be with you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always happy to come to Laguna Woods and provide some safety information for the residents.
And it's nice that you come out along with other folks from OCFA and the sheriffs and other communities to come right here to a city council, and you give a nice presentation for the folks.
Yeah, always happy to do so. The more we can spread the word about being safe, hopefully the less we have to come out here in a real emergency.
Yeah. Now, of course, home safety. You've been on our show many times. And home safety really encompasses so many different things, particularly for seniors, right?
Yes, so what we try to tell them is remind them the top 3 causes of home fires, cooking obviously number 1, as well as heating safety, electrical safety, which includes dryers, cleaning out your lint trap, all those top causes of fires. Again, just a gentle reminder, we all know what to do, just to making sure that we're checking often, making sure we don't have those hazards in our home.
Let's talk about cooking first. And, one of the things that happens to us as we get older, myself included, you get a little forgetful. And I've even been known to, like, I'll turn something down on the stove, I'll have a pot on top of it, and then I'll forget that, it's on low, and I'll come back 5 minutes later and go, oh, I meant to turn that off. But it can become a huge hazard if it gets beyond that.
Yeah, cooking has no age discrimination, that's for sure. Always the pan left on the stove, whether that's a neighbor knocking, your phone starts ringing, you walk away for a few minutes, and before you know it, now there's a fire, or you forget to turn off the stove. So it's just being diligent, making sure that really you know what to do if that happens. We all get forgetful, we make mistakes, but it's making sure that doesn't lead to more injuries, that we cover the lid and turn it off. Easiest thing to do. We don't try and put water on it or walk away with your pan on fire.
Now, speaking of that, if you do have a fire, something happens on the pan, a grease fire, I know the number one thing that people need to get are home fire extinguishers. They're very inexpensive, and they're easy to come by. But what type? Sometimes you go into the stores, and there's many different types. What's the one that's perfect for all purpose?
The best all-purpose is an ABC fire extinguisher, which means it'll put out those 3 classes of fire. The A-type fire being wood, paper, normal combustibles. A Class B fire are flammable liquids, so like cooking, oil. And a Class C fire is electrical equipment, if your surge protector or extension cord were to catch on fire. So if you have an ABC fire extinguisher, it'll put out all of those causes of fire.
Okay, now, I know that, like I said, you can find those, and sometimes you can find a 2-pack for $20, which I keep one in the kitchen, I keep one outside so if something happens to my barbecue, and we'll get to that in a minute, I can take care of that. They do come with expiration dates, and that should be noted, right?
Yes, definitely. So extinguishers are typically good for about 5 to 7 years, and the expiration date is noted. Because even though it says it's still in the green, it's pressurized, it's that powder that over time clumps down at the bottom and won't be useful. So you really want to make sure. People get in the habit, oh, I bought a fire extinguisher, never had to use it. Well, it could be expired, so you want to make sure and check that out and get a new one if it is.
Okay, just like your battery and your smoke detector.
Right, exactly. Get those.
Okay. You mentioned electrical, and one of the biggest problems over the years, you've talked about this many times. We've seen this, unfortunately, in the community, caused by the electrical cords, extension cords. Quite often they get pinched, they get under something, and people go out, they buy, especially you see at the holidays, these $1 extension cords, and that's certainly not, you don't want that for any reason.
No, definitely not. Extension cords should be short-term use only. And if you were to use something long-term, a power strip, make sure that it is a surge protector and not just a normal extension cord. That way, if there's ever that surge in electricity, it'll automatically shut off and save you from a fire.
Okay, and I know that's really important. It's something when I look for something that I make sure it has it in it, because there's certain areas around the house, especially older homes, you don't have as many outlets as the newer homes do, so that that comes in handy. But still, you make sure that they're not under any furniture, carpeting, or anything.
Right, they're not pinched, they're not under any carpet, there's a lot of people walking on them. And if for any reason they start to come apart, the wires are exposed, you want to replace it right away.
Okay, now what about homes having the GFIC breakers, or basically those outlets? Now, that's something that every home should have around anything that can get wet within the kitchen, bathroom, or something like that. But sometimes older homes, maybe they don't, right?
Correct. That's a newer code. So the newer homes built prior to 2017 have that now installed. But if you don't, that's something definitely that you want to get an electrician to come out. Make sure you do have those safety precautions in place.
Okay, that's very important too. Now, you've also talked about being safe around the home, falls and things like that. Now, that may not be a fire hazard, it may not be an electrical hazard, but if you fall, guess who you're going to call, right? And so you folks have often had campaigns on how to keep your home safe, right? Just in general.
Yeah, just in general, we will come out and fall prevention, making sure no slip hazards, you have the proper railings in place. Also disaster preparedness, making sure you have those materials in place. We offer a variety of presentations and programs, and we're happy to come out. That's our job, helping out those residents in our communities.
All right, now let's go on to people who should be prepared in case of any kind of an emergency. We hope that never happens, but it could. And getting your stuff together, having a plan, but really most importantly, having a plan of if you need to get out. Even if you forget a few important things, it's keeping yourself safe.
Right. Most importantly, identifying ahead of time where are you going to go if you needed to leave. It could be a family member's house, a friend's house, having multiple ways out, and then those belongings that you're going to take with you. Making sure that you have a kit ready to go in case, in that split second you needed to leave your home.
And I also know in our community, one of the things that our security chief, Tim Moy, suggests, and our disaster folks that help out with that, is on your refrigerator, you often list maybe medications you're using, emergency contacts. So if you unfortunately are passed out and you folks arrive, you can you look for that, and it's usually on the refrigerator.
Yes, you can actually go to our website, ocfa.org, and there's a resident tab where you can actually download and print out a resident medical information form. And you can keep that on your refrigerator, somewhere visible, that, yes, exactly, lists any medications you're taking, allergies, any previous medical history. That way we know it and we can transport you with knowing the information in case you're not able to give it to us.
Yeah, when you go on the website, obviously you can download this, but it even suggests like placing on your refrigerator or somewhere that if any kind of medical emergency happens, somebody needs to come in, even our own security, they'll look for that, right?
Yes, and it's a great tool both ways. So we give you the best delivery possible if you're not able to give that to us, and especially for medications or any allergies. We know that stuff ahead of time.
Okay, one more thing before we move on to grilling and barbecuing is that, I mentioned the smoke detectors, and most now have a lithium battery that lasts for about 10 years or so. I have mine dated, so I can look at them, and I actually have them dated 1 year less, so at 9 years I know to change them out. But you folks go out a lot of the times and help different communities put those in, right?
Yes, we go out. We actually have a grant through KIDA, the smoke alarm company, and they provide us with 4,000 alarms every year. So we take those and we'll actually go and install them in residents' homes. And these are the brand new 10-year lithium batteries. So we install them, they're good for 10 years. Don't have to worry about changing those batteries out every 6 months anymore. So we provide them to seniors, low income, or high-risk communities.
Okay, now placement of those, even in if you have a fairly a small residence, maybe 2 bedrooms or so, you need more than one, right?
Yes, definitely. The new code is 1 in the hallway outside the sleeping areas and then 1 in each bedroom.
Okay, and then around the kitchen or wherever that might be.
Yeah, and then the living room as well. Especially if in a 2-story home, you have to have one downstairs on each level.
Okay, and then for me, and I know some people here do have garages, I have one in the garage as well.
Yeah, definitely the more the better. You cannot have too many smoke alarms.
All right, so about, I don't know, whenever they're due, I'll be running around changing, I don't know, probably like 7 or 8 of them. All right, let's move on to barbecue and grilling. And I know in this community there are certain restrictions, but people can go out and have a good time, a safe time, using their outdoor grill. And it's what I do. I have 3 of them. I have a gas, I have a pellet smoker, and I have a charcoal. So I've used all these, and you know the number one thing is safety with them, right?
Yes, so for all of those, whether you're using charcoal or electric propane, you want to make sure that you have a nice big area in order to grill. So at least keeping a 3-foot radius of any children, pets away from the grilling area. And also a lot of people tend to forget the overhang. If you've got tree branches, pergola, anything flammable that could potentially catch fire, you want to make sure that it's clear of the barbecue as well.
So mostly in this community, people have gas grills, small, large. They can be quite a hazard if not used properly, using that gas tank properly. And one of the biggest hazards that people have is the way that they light the grill. Most of them have some sort of an electronic ignition on them that lights the burner. Sometimes it does not happen, and if you don't do the process properly, that can really be a problem.
Yes, you want to make sure when you go to light the barbecue that the lid is up. You make sure to turn on the gas and then hit that igniter button. If it's not igniting, turn everything off. Give it about 15 minutes or so before you try to ignite it again. And if at any point you smell gas or the gas continues to leak, that is definitely a fire hazard. You want to call 911.
Okay, and a couple things that I do is that when I put on a new tank, I always put a little soapy water where that connection is. I've been told that if you see that kind of bubbling up, you know you did not connect that properly. And then I always will turn off that tank. I don't just turn off the barbecue, I turn off the tank itself and tighten that down between each use.
Yeah, that's a great trick. You want to make sure you do that manually. And then the soapy bubbles, yeah, exactly. Good detection that there's a gas leak instead of trying to smell it.
Yeah, that's true. Now, charcoal grill, there's not too many here in the community. People do use it. Charcoal can get to 700-800 degrees. Obviously, a real danger if you don't use that charcoal properly and light it properly.
Yeah, that's definitely the biggest fire issues with those charcoal grills. You want to make sure you light it with a big match, something to keep your hand away from it, and also using the right fluid. Only lighter fluid, and once it's lit, you do not continue to put in that fluid to fan the flames.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. I personally use a chimney starter. You put the charcoal in.
Yeah.
I don't put paper underneath because that can start to fly away. You buy these little paraffin lighters in there, and I think that works really easy. And then you just carefully, with the big old mitt on, turn the charcoal into the grill.
Yeah, that's a great tip.
Now, what about that charcoal can take up to a day to dissipate as far as the heat goes and keep smoldering, and that's a safety tip. You got to think afterwards what happens as well.
Right, make sure that you leave it there, let it settle, but also take precautions if it knocks over. You want to make sure you give it a long time to cool down and settle. Otherwise, yeah, it could be dangerous even after your grilling's done.
All right, and speaking of grilling, do you like barbecue sauce on your ribs, or do you like them plain?
I like the sauce.
All right, there we go. Alexa, thank you very much for coming by today, or me coming by here, meeting you at the City Council. It's great that you folks with OCFA put on these events and these seminars to keep people safe, and we hope to see you again. And also, I hear you got a new public information officer. We hope to meet them soon and get them on as well.
Yeah, always happy to come out. I'm sure John would be happy to meet you. He's great, a new PIO on board, and always feel free to ask us whenever you need. We're here.
All right, thank you very much.
that the Laguna Hills Lodge was originally built as a place for relatives or friends to stay when they were visiting. In 1968, Laguna Woods' residents built the first 2 buildings of the lodge because they wanted a place close by for visitors to stay. Since then, the lodge has become the spare bedroom for the Laguna Woods' residents. The lodge has received the TripAdvisor Award of Excellence 8 years in a row. We invite you to stay in one of our recently remodeled garden rooms and take advantage of a special offer for Laguna Woods' residents, family, and friends.
Your body is made for work, play, and
Well, it's always a pleasure to have Joe Herending here today with the Christian Women's Connection. Tomorrow, they're having their luncheon. Good to see you again, as always.
It's good to see you.
Yes. So you do this, I think, usually every month, a luncheon?
Yes, the third Tuesday of every month.
All right. And this one is tomorrow. It is at Clubhouse 7 at 11:45.
Right.
And you got a couple great folks that are going to be there.
Oh, they are great.
Yeah.
Oh, we get a choice of people, and we always have something exciting.
Yes, yeah. So the first one we're going to talk about is Chuck Perot, and he is a retired fireman and founder of orphanages and he's also a popular singer around Orange County.
Mm-hmm. He's exciting.
Yeah.
He's a wonderful man.
So tell me about what he does, his orphanages and all.
Well, he and his wife founded 4 orphanages, and they adopted their first baby was a Oaxacan baby.
Oh, okay.
And they've gone through a lot of trials, but it's been so successful because they are wonderful, committed people.
Yeah. And he also sings. So
yes, that's his side. That's his love.
Is that what he's going to do at your meeting
Yes, he's
tomorrow?
going to sing.
Okay. What type of music?
Well, he'll have one sacred song and one secular song, maybe 2. And he's dove into a little opera.
Okay.
And as he's been singing more, and he's very good. People will enjoy him.
That'll be fun. Is he going to talk about his orphanages or just
No,
sing?
he will just be the music. But his wife will be there with him for lunch.
Okay. Now the other guest speaker is Barbara Whiteman, and you put down here a former clown.
Yes, well, she has done a lot of work in her church and around with puppets, and she is magnificent, a speaker. So we encourage everybody to make it this month to hear Barbara. I've known her quite a few years.
She lives here?
No, she doesn't.
Oh, okay.
No, she's outside. And
Okay, so where was she a clown?
Well, I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
I came in a little later. We used to be in a class together.
Okay.
And but now she just goes as a speaker because all our speakers are trained, by Stonecroft.
So explain Stonecroft for me. I know that they're a sponsor.
Well, Stonecroft is a group. It's just a very unique type of ministry. We invite everybody to come and enjoy and meeting new friends, and you keep them sometimes for years.
Yeah.
And it's 80 years old now.
Stonecroft is?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
And international. And the one that's here has been here for 41 years.
Okay.
And it's growing, and we like new faces and the young people that have moved in here to come and try.
So are they one and the same with Christian Women's Connection?
Stonecroft is over. That's what their ministry is.
Oh, I see.
Stonecroft.
Okay.
You could look it up on your computer.
Okay.
If you're out of town, you could look it up and go to a luncheon maybe.
Okay. All right. So it's stonecroft.org.
Yes.
So that's where people would go to find out information about the Christian Women's Connection in your area.
Yes, or call me. I'll tell them.
All right. Now, going back to the speaker, her topic is what it takes to be good enough.
Well, that's what we're going to go see.
Okay.
It's
all right.
going to
We'll
be
find out.
wonderful. Yeah, I
Okay.
can't wait.
And as usual, you have a nice luncheon.
Yes, we have a buffet by Tomas, and it's always geared so that from vegetarians to have their choice.
Okay.
He's wonderful, wonderful. He and his family serve us, and they're just great.
Yeah, I've heard they're very good.
Yeah.
And again, I want to remind people this is tomorrow. It's $14 per person. Now, do they need to RSVP or call you? Or?
It would be nice if they did. That helps the caterer to know how many chickens to buy.
Yes, that's true. So,
but
Joe,
walk-ins, we welcome walk-ins.
You do welcome
We're
walk-ins.
always prepared.
Okay. And you welcome men, even though you like to mention
insist that the men will come, and we have men's speakers at times, and just things that are geared for the men.
Okay.
But these are wonderful when our speakers, they talk about how God changed their lives.
Oh, very good. So men are welcome.
It's uplifting, yeah.
And you listed here, there's door prizes as well?
Oh, yes. You never know a little trivia question you might get.
That'll be fun.
Yes.
So your number is 949-939-2431,
yes,
right?
That's right.
And people can call that. And as Joe said, you're welcome just to show up, but it certainly helps them. You know how many tables to put out, the whole thing, the cater and all.
And we ask everyone to come and have lunch. If you're working, maybe you can get off another hour and come.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. That is tomorrow, Clubhouse 7 at 11:45 to about 1:30 or so. The Christian Women's Connection. You can go online to stonecroft.org to find out more information about the organization and local chapters in general. Or, as Joe said, you can call her at 949-939-2431.
I'd be happy to hear from them.
All right. Good to see you. You take care.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
You have a great day today.
Oh, I respect it.
There's your meals, and we'll see you later.
Thank you very much for coming.
Bye-bye.
This is Age Well Senior Services. Won't you make it yours?
Hi, I'm audiologist Ann Mundell-Noel. When it comes to your hearing needs, your personal care have always been our top priority. Whether it's for a hearing test, a repair, or new technology, providing the highest level of hearing care is our goal. Many of you have called us amazing, and we agree. We're now calling ourselves Amazing Hearing. Same great people, same great location, just a new name. Amazing Hearing in the Trader Joe Shopping Center.
Thank you for joining us. Today I have Dr. Patrick Allure, and we're going to be talking about ovarian cancer. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
So ovarian cancer, called the silent killer. Why?
Well, unfortunately, ovarian cancer doesn't present with symptoms very early, and oftentimes doesn't present with symptoms at all until disease is quite far spread. So it was given the name the silent killer because oftentimes people would be given a terminal diagnosis before they even realized they had cancer or symptoms.
Wow. Is ovarian, obviously it's for women, do they have, like you said, not very many signs, but are there certain things that we should pay attention to?
There are definitely some symptoms that should be paid attention to. One is abdominal bloating or a feeling of gassiness, but not related to food.
Mm-hmm.
So if a woman notices there's a long-term swelling, this could be an early sign. Back pain, pelvic pain, nausea, weight loss, fatigue.
Okay.
But a lot of those symptoms, you know, could be used to describe a lot of different illnesses.
Right.
So again, they're not very helpful, not very specific.
And when you say ovarian cancer, is it the fallopian tube area, the ovaries themselves within there, or where?
So ovarian cancer specifically refers to a cancer which begins in the ovary from ovary cells, and can either remain within the ovary and stay within a normal sized ovary, or grow and fill the pelvis, or even spread to other organs of the abdomen, chest, the bones, or lymph nodes.
Wow, okay. What are some of the risk factors?
The risk factors for the development of ovarian cancer include genetic factors such as the BRCA1 and BRCA2 gene mutation, which can also be seen in breast cancer, Lynch syndrome, other family inherited disorders, long-term estrogen replacement, older age, and the length of a patient's menses. So in other words, from the day that they started menstruation in puberty until the day that they ended. And the longer that duration is, the higher risk they are for the development of ovarian cancer, because the longer they're exposed to estrogen. The more estrogen a patient has throughout their lifetime, the higher their risk for the development of ovarian cancer.
Okay. Now, when you say family, immediate family, like mother, father?
Mother, father, aunts, uncles, I'm not quite as confident about, but brothers and sisters, that would also fall in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. And then, is it preventable?
It is not preventable, but you can lower your risk by taking birth control, because that decreases your long-term estrogen exposure over your life.
Only birth control. Is there anything else?
Well, I'm sure there's other types of hormonal augmentation that can be done, but also if you have a BRCA1 or BRCA2 gene mutation or Lynch syndrome or other inherited syndromes, and you know that you're going to be at a high risk for ovarian cancer, or if everyone in your family had ovarian cancer, then you could elect to have your ovaries removed, much like patients with a high risk of breast cancer could elect to have a mastectomy.
I see. Now, you refer to the brackets. How do they get tested for that?
The BRCA genes, it's a blood test, and it's a genetic blood test, basically.
Okay, so it's something they could elect to do.
Correct, and it's usually done in conjunction with breast screening. So if a patient has a breast cancer or they have a family history of breast cancer, their doctor might choose to test them for the BRCA gene mutations, and that's usually when they find out that they have those mutations and that they might need to consider having their ovaries removed as well.
I see. Okay. And then how do you detect it?
The best way to detect ovarian cancer is to start with a pelvic physical examination from your doctor. That's usually, physical exam is always the best way to start looking for anything. But if you're suspicious, either by the physical examination or by the history, signs, and symptoms, you really should move to an ultrasound, even if the pelvic physical exam is negative. So the first imaging test would be an ultrasound. And if an abnormality is seen in the ovaries on the ultrasound, then you would get an MRI, which would help characterize the ovaries further, or the abnormality in the ovaries, and help say that you have a suspicious finding or a non-suspicious finding. If it was suspicious, then you might either go right to surgery. Sometimes these are not biopsied, or your doctor may elect to biopsy the abnormality.
So when women go and they have their yearly exams, their PAPs and things like that, are they testing for something like this?
Well, actually, a pap smear does not test for ovarian cancer. It only tests for cervical cancer.
Okay.
So a pap smear is not helpful. Now, the pelvic physical examination is helpful if there was a large ovarian mass.
Right.
The doctor may feel some fullness in the pelvis or firmness in the pelvis and be alerted to a problem. But at that point, it's probably significantly far along to make those kind of symptoms or those kind of signs on physical examination.
Right.
But still treatable. But I guess that's why I was saying, even if the physical examination is negative, if the patient has a BRCA gene mutation and a family history and pelvic swelling, in the setting of a normal physical exam, they should still go for the imaging, for the ultrasound to start.
And with some of the technologies that we have today, is it easier to treat ovarian cancer if they are further along?
It is. I believe it is easier to treat it. First of all, we can diagnose it earlier. So, and now we have surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, all can treat it. The radiation can be delivered different ways, either just the standard beam radiation. It can be treated via a liquid that's infused through the stomach, just into the abdomen, I should say, as well as chemotherapy infused, if the ovarian cancer has spread further. And there are always new chemotherapy regimens coming out that help treat ovarian cancer.
Okay.
Is it always curable? No, but it's always getting better.
Okay. And what are some of the things that RadNet is doing to help further along what they do for people with ovarian cancer?
Well, we really have improved our MRI imaging protocols to specifically evaluate ovarian cancer. Also, we have a large PET-CT program, our oncology program, where we have specialized readers reading these exams, the MRIs and the PET-CTs. I think those are the major.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the information.
You're welcome.
And remember, if you'd like more information about what we just discussed, please visit radnet.com.
I choose to make friends out of neighbors.
I choose to start a new chapter.
I choose to live an active lifestyle.
Choose to experience the good life at Villa Valencia. Call or visit us today.
At our new Memorial Wave Imaging Center in Laguna Woods, formerly Orange County Diagnostics, you can expect the same precise imaging, multiple modalities for your imaging needs, and the same friendly staff with medical providers like Dr. Syed Sharakni. The Laguna Woods Transportation Service offers convenient access right to our door, and we continue to provide the care and compassion that you expect from our new Wave Laguna Woods location.
The Santa Ana Zoo goes beyond animal attractions. They are committed to providing recreation and education while highlighting the message of conservation. I caught up with Lauren Berg, educational specialist, to learn about their education programs. We are in Exploration Outpost, and I've caught up with Lauren, who's going to tell us a little bit about the volunteer and education programs. So, very fun area that we're in, and you said this is where some of our educational programs happen, right?
Yes, this is actually one of the really popular places for our education programs, including our Zoo Explorer. We use a lot of volunteers. We would not be able to do our education programs without our volunteers, and they range in backgrounds, ages, and abilities. Our docent program and our interpreters are the main ones that help us with those programs, and we absolutely love retired teachers and other people who just love kids and animals and want to come share the zoo with that next generation.
So what are some of the requirements as a volunteer?
So we don't have any starting requirements. You don't need to have a background in education or a background with animals. We do all of the training. We just ask for a lot of enthusiasm. And of course, availability while the zoo is open, because most of our programs take place during the regular hours of 10 a.m. until noon, but we also have volunteer opportunities throughout the entire day from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m.
And what are some of the things that they would be doing?
Sure, so the very first requirements for our volunteers is attending an orientation. We have orientations on the first Saturday of even-numbered months, so every other month. And we have volunteers that help with education programs, leading students around the zoo and doing activities. We have volunteers in our farm, helping people interact safely with the goats and the sheep and our other ambassador animals. We even have volunteers that help out our animal services staff if they're looking for something more physical.
And if somebody wanted to participate as a volunteer, can they just go to your website?
Exactly. All of our information about volunteering is on santaanazoo.org. Under the support tab, they can click on volunteer at the zoo and find all of the information they need.
Okay, perfect. And then, you know, here we have this exploration point here. What are they going to find here?
So here at the Exploration Outpost, you're going to find our reptiles and amphibians. We get a lot of guests that are afraid of snakes, and we have two big, beautiful boa constrictors here at the zoo. And it's a great opportunity for people to kind of face their fears, and also for our volunteers to give some conservation messaging and help people get past those myths and realize that these animals are really important to our environment and have benefits for people as well.
The Santa Ana Zoo is located right off the 5 freeway off 1st Street on Chestnut Avenue in Santa Ana. Very simple to get to. The zoo is open 7 days a week from 10 to 4, closed major holidays. There is a senior rate, 60 years and over, of $9. Wheelchairs and electric scooters are available for rent. For more information, visit their website at www.santaanazoo.org.
And our movie today is Godzilla, King of the Monsters. This is a version that came out in May of this year. And it's about a cryptozoological agency. It's called Monarch, that faces off against a battery of God-sized monsters, including the mighty Godzilla, who collides with Mothra, Rodan, and his ultimate nemesis, the three-headed King Ghidorah. And I haven't, over the years, I haven't really seen many of the Godzilla movies or watched them beginning and end, but they're all very similar. They got a lot of action going on, usually a lot of campiness to them as well. And in this one is Kyle Chandler, Vera Farmiga, and Millie Bobby Brown. And as I said, this came out in May of this year, so it's a fairly new movie. And we'll bring that to you today at 2 and at 6 o'clock. Then our movie on Friday is a movie that came out about 10 years ago. It's called Knowing, and it stars Nicolas Cage. And it's about an MIT professor who links a mysterious list of numbers from a time capsule to past and future disasters and sets out to prevent the ultimate catastrophe. Also starring Chandler Canterbury and Rose Bryn. And as I said, this came out in 2009, so 10 years ago. And that will be our movie Friday, brought to you by Memorial Care. Now, a couple things I want to tell you about that are coming up. If you've got stuff that you'd like to trade and exchange, well, Laguna Woods, the city of Laguna Woods, is having their goods exchange. And this will be coming up this Saturday from 8:30 in the morning to 12:30. And that will be over at City Hall. And this is a place that you can go and have a bunch of stuff that you just kind of lay out on tables. And if people want it, they can come and get it. And then what's left over, they go ahead and they donate to Goodwill Industries. But also, this weekend, they will be accepting e-waste and bulky items and housewares. So e-waste, of course, old computers and televisions and devices and things like that. And bulky items, large furniture and appliances, anything like that. And housewares in general, they will be accepting as well. They want to make sure you know they will not accept at this event any medication or household hazardous waste. So keep that in mind. But this will be coming up Saturday the 21st, 8:30 a.m. out front of City Hall. So if you got some stuff you just want to exchange or get rid of, they can help you out with that. All right. Also want to remind you that the Tea Party Sentinels, their meeting will be a week from today, the 23rd, and that will be over at Clubhouse 7, and it will be at, the doors open at 6:30, but the meeting starts about 7, and their guest speaker will be Kelly Embry. All right, as far as the weather goes today, we've got a cooler week, which is nice. After the pretty hot weather over really Friday and Saturday, and we got a nice marine layer that's going to be coming in every day, and during the night, and then early in the morning to keep some morning clouds. And then most of the day later will be mostly sunny. As we get to Friday, we're going to see less of that. And as I said earlier, although the temperature is pretty mild on Friday, we're going to start to see things heat up next weekend. It shouldn't be as bad as this past weekend, but it'll start to heat up. So Friday is the one day that I'm not too sure about. It could end up being warmer that day. We'll see how that transition goes. If the trough that is with us right now that is bringing this cooler weather, if that begins to weaken a little bit sooner, then you're going to see on Friday things heat up a little bit more than that. But overall, not too bad. Around Orange County today and beyond, it's just absolutely beautiful everywhere you go. A little bit more, as I said, of that marine layer, especially around the coast. And inland, less so for sure. That's why you see Palm Springs 101, of course. And even in Riverside County today, their temperatures are still pretty warm out there, but they'll start to go down probably starting tomorrow. But everywhere else looking pretty darn good. All right, we will see you tomorrow. We are going to have Supervisor Lisa Bartlett on tomorrow, and I don't have information yet of who she's going to bring on with us, but also we're going to have the Duplicate Bridge Club will be here as well. So we'll see you then. Bye-bye.